In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to the Room2Breathe Podcast. I'm your host, LifeCoach614, and I'm so grateful that you pressed play today because this episode, it's personal, it's sacred, and I think it's long overdue. Now, before we get into today's episode, do me a favor. Tap the heart, be sure to leave a comment or a review, and send this to someone who knows what it means to be gaslit, minimized, or told to just get over it. Your voice helps this message reach the people who need it the most. And of course, we extend the invitation for you to visit us at our website, selfcareclub.org. We have affirmative apparel and other healing tools, motivational merch that's designed just for you. This ain't just a podcast, y'all. This is a movement. Now, take a deep breath with me. Inhale. Hold it. And exhale. Let's begin. Today's topic is titled Healing the Hurt they said was all in your head, right? They try to tell us all the time, it's all in your head. You're making that up. That didn't happen, right? That's what they want us to believe. But let's just slow this down and sit with it for a minute. Let's talk about when they didn't believe you, when you said that you were hurt, right? Because I feel like this isn't something that we should just gloss over. This is the kind of pain that lingers in the shadows. Hey, Miss Sherry, I see you, Queen. This is the heartbreak that doesn't get the flowers or a GoFundMe. We're going to talk about the trauma that you carry in silence, because when you tried to put a name on it, they told you it wasn't real. Some of us learned very young that our feelings make other people uncomfortable. We're told to be strong, but what they really meant was for us to be quiet, right? They want us to be agreeable, be easy to deal with, don't make waves. And if something did happen to you that didn't just sit right with you, well, you must have misunderstood, right? You took it the wrong way. Does this sound familiar for anyone? I think that some of us learn to just get along with things. It's like you try to talk about the way your body tensed up around certain people, the way your spirit shrank in certain environments, the way your nervous system screamed, this is unsafe, while everybody else was telling you to relax, calm down. You tried to talk about the anxiety, the gut feelings, right? The panic attacks, the people pleasing. And all they did was hit you with, you're being dramatic. You're seeking attention. That was years ago. Let it go, right? And so slowly and painfully, you start wondering, what if I am the problem, right? That right there. That's what emotional gaslighting looks like. And it doesn't just break your heart. It makes you start doubting your own mind, right? We're going to pause right here for a moment and just breathe, because again, this can be heavy, right? This is where so many of us start to disconnect from ourselves. This is where that self-doubt comes to play, right? Self-doubt becomes the soundtrack of our inner voice. But let me be real with you. When someone you love, especially someone who was supposed to protect you, tells you that your pain is all made up, it causes you to begin to gaslight yourself. You replay the moments over and over again in your head thinking, was I being too sensitive? Did I exaggerate things? Maybe I am doing too much, right? But no, you weren't too much. They were too unwilling to face the truth. And the truth is, you were hurting. You were hurting, and all you needed was for someone to hold space for you. To say, that sounds hard. Someone to say, I'm sorry that happened to you. Someone to say, I believe you. But instead you got silence, or even worse, some of you got blame. And that's where the real damage has begun, because it wasn't even just the original pain that broke you. It was being left to carry it all alone. So I want to take this opportunity to just pause and say this. If you're carrying the weight of being unheard, dismissed, disbelieved, this space, this room to breathe moment is your safe space to exhale. Because you don't have to minimize your pain here. You don't have to over-explain or justify why that hurt you. You just get to be real. You get to tell the truth. You get to start healing on your own terms. I think it's important that we begin understanding the psychological wounds that we're walking around with. And, this isn't something that gets talked about enough within our communities. It's the mental and the emotional abuse that we undergo, right? Because when the trauma doesn't leave bruises, people tend to dismiss it, right? Everybody wants evidence. They need proof. They need a headline or some sort of diagnosis. Welcome in, Cookie Mix. But not all pain shows up in black and blue. Some of the pain that we experience hides behind our smile. Some of it is woven into your overthinking. Some of it is the reason why you always feel like you're not enough, even when you're doing everything right. So let's be real. You can survive a toxic household, a manipulative relationship, or a workplace that drains your soul, and people will still say you should be over that by now. Or they tell you things like, well, he never hit you. He meant well, right? At least she didn't abandon you. They tell you all of these things. And here's the truth. What up, Lady Blue? Here's the truth, guys. No one talks about this loud enough. Psychological wounds are real wounds. They may be invisible, but maybe they cut deep. Mental abuse, emotional abuse, narcissistic, gaslighting. All of this is often brushed off because there are no bruises to photograph. There's no cast on the arm, and it doesn't come with a doctor's note. But the truth is, words can wound. Emotional neglect does scar. And invalidation is violence. See, the brain registers emotional pain the same way it registers physical pain. So when you're being dismissed, belittled, or made to feel crazy, that's trauma. It's your nervous system being trained to distrust your instincts, to suppress your truth. But let me be clear, just because it's in your head doesn't mean that it's not real. right? That is living in your body, in your chest, in your stomach, in your patterns, in your boundaries or lack thereof. You are not too emotional. You're simply carrying pain that was never acknowledged. And so today, we're going to put a name on it. Let's break this down from a coaching and science lens, okay? When you experienced emotional neglect, constant criticism, manipulation, gaslighting, or control, your nervous system goes into overdrive. Your brain starts to adapt for survival. So this is the moment where you learn to scan every room for danger, even when no one is physically hurting you. This is where you learn to second guess yourself before you speak, because you're used to being shut down. This is also where you begin to prioritize everyone else's needs because you've been taught that yours don't matter. This is trauma. And trauma isn't just what happened to you. It's also what didn't happen that should have, right? You should have been comforted. You should have been protected. You should have been believed. When that doesn't happen, your brain registers this experience just like it does physical pain. In fact, studies have shown that in some it's the same region of the brain that lit up for emotional pain as it does physical injury. So our body registers it the same. So no, you're not weak. You're not crazy. You're not broken. What you are is traumatized. And the fact that you're still standing, the fact that you're here listening to this podcast, that you're trying to make sense of your healing, that makes you even more powerful. So again, today we're going to name some of these psychological wounds that often go unnoticed. That first one, of course, is gaslighting. Gaslighting. Now, gaslighting is when you are being told that your perception is wrong, right? That your perception of reality is just incorrect. That's when they gaslight you. So when you say like, I feel this or this happened to me, and then someone says, no, it didn't happen like that. That's not what you felt. That's not what you saw. That's gaslighting. Right? We all know what gaslighting looks like. Right? So then in addition to gaslighting, we have something called neglect. Neglect. That is when no one checked in, right? No one saw you. No one asked you how you were doing, right? They just completely abandoned you, left you there on your own to figure it out, right? Get it together, figure it out. You'll be okay. That's neglect. The next one is minimizing. Minimizing. When you were told that it's not that bad. It wasn't that bad. Right? They try to dim it down. You're sharing your experience of something that, you've dealt with in life, and they're like, it wasn't that bad. You're exaggerating. Another psychological wound is conditional love. You had to earn love by being perfect or by performing or by keeping the peace. Their love comes with limitation. Their love comes with conditions. That is a psychological wound. And the last one that I know all too well is control disguised as perfection. Control disguised as protection. You weren't allowed to have your own voice or your own boundaries. They had to control you, and they pretended that they were just trying to protect you, right? And so if any of that hits close to home, I want you to take this moment to just breathe. And, understand that you taking ownership, you taking back your breath, that's not a sign of weakness. That's simply a sign of awareness. And awareness is the first step towards healing. Let me ask you this with love, zero judgment. Okay? Have you ever apologized for being sad? Have you ever hidden how stressed or anxious you were because you didn't want to be a burden to someone else? Have you ever told yourself, other people have it worse, I should be grateful? If you answered yes to any of those, I want you to understand that that's not humility. That's internalized gaslighting. And we're not doing that anymore. We're done minimizing our pain to make other people more comfortable. We're done pretending that just because we look fine, that we're actually okay, that we're actually fine. See, the truth that I want you to carry in your spirit today, if no one else acknowledges the wound, I still get to heal. If no one else is willing to acknowledge your wound, you still get to heal. They don't have to understand it. You don't need a courtroom. You don't need a confession from the person who hurt you. Hell, you don't even need them to believe you. Your healing is yours. And guess what? The people who dismissed your pain aren't the ones assigned to your healing anyway. That assignment belongs to you and only you. And you guys showing up all the time, focusing on your self-care, trying to be better, right? You're doing the work. You're showing up for yourselves in ways that they never did, that they never could have. So I want each and every one of you to give yourself some credit. You broke the cycle when you started questioning it. You shifted the energy when you decided to heal instead of just cope. You are breaking cycles. Blue said she was across the room yelling, yes, I'm in your business. My bad. Y'all, let's breathe this mantra in together. All right, let's just take a moment and I want you guys to say it with me. What happened to me was real. My pain is valid, and I choose to heal whether they understand it or not. What happened to me was real. My pain is valid, and I choose to heal whether they understand me or not. What happened to me was real. My pain is valid, and I choose to heal whether they understand me or not. Another one that I want to add for you. They didn't have to believe me for it to be true. My soul remembers. But now I remember me too. They didn't have to believe me for it to be true. My soul remembers. But now I remember me too. They didn't have to believe me for it to be true. My soul remembers, but now I remember me too. This is your moment of reclaiming. Your moment to say, it was never all in my head. It was in my heart. It was in my body. It was in my silence. And now you're speaking. And I promise you, your voice is just as powerful as any medication. It's the most powerful medicine. And I want you guys to also stop being afraid of the mirror, of our reflection, right? Because they made us feel less than, they made us feel ugly. I want you guys to start to get more comfortable with doing this mirror work, this shadow work. We've got to begin to name what happened. In fact, a good journal prompt for you guys today would be, what's the wound I was told didn't exist? Right? What wounds was I told didn't exist? And I want y'all to go ahead and name it. Right? So that relationship that broke you, put a name on it. That childhood neglect that you was told is normal, talk about it. The bullying that you experienced that where they told you to toughen up, I want you to release it. That betrayal that you brushed off, now I want you to say it. I want you to talk about it. Because we don't heal what we're not allowed to name, right? We talk about this all the time. You can't heal what you can't feel. So we need to put a name on it. So I want you to say it out loud. I want you to cry if you need to, shake if you must, scream into the pillow, right? Let the truth move through you. This is the part that they skipped. The part where you honor the version of you who was silenced, ignored, gaslit into forgetting his or her own story. Speak. Breathe. Be believed. They might never say, I'm sorry. They might never admit what they did to you. But you don't need their permission to heal. You don't need their agreement in order for you to matter. Because you matter. And, it is time that we begin to scream, my pain is real. My healing is valid. And I don't need a witness to tell me what I've lived through. What happened to me wasn't my fault. But I choose to heal from it. That part's mine. What happened to me wasn't my fault. But I'm choosing to heal from it anyway. I'm choosing to. Because that part is mine. That's my victory. That's where I validate myself, right? That's where you begin to rewrite your entire story. You no longer cast yourself as the confused emotional wreck. You become the survivor, given that main character energy, right? The survivor who saw his or her way through their lives, choosing to heal anyway. Choosing to heal. That's the key part. We choose to heal from it. And you know what? Let's go even deeper in the healing work, right? Here are 5 tools that I use myself on a regular, and I recommend to my clients every day, right? Because there's layers, there's levels to healing, right? Okay, so I believe that we need to also heal in layers. And so for some of us, we need actual steps to go by. And so the things that I really believe that are so helpful in our healing, number one, it starts with narrative therapy. Okay. Narrative therapy is where you write your story in third person. So for example, as I'm telling a story about myself, I wouldn't say I, right? I'm speaking outside of me. So I would say she was always told that she was being dramatic, but she really was deeply aware. Because sometimes us detaching helps us to see clearly. You ever notice how on the outside looking in, you see a situation so clear? Everything is so visible to you when you step on the outside of the situation. So when you start to do that narrative therapy and you start to tell your story from the outside looking in, You start to see more things that you couldn't see when you were blinded in their toxic energy. So try a little narrative therapy. Tell your story from the third person, and then go back and read it. Another practical tool is somatic work. See, we have to begin to understand that trauma isn't just in our thoughts. Trauma lives in our body. And so the somatic work allows us to begin to release trauma from various places in our body. So you've got to try stretching, dancing, shaking, breath work, right? That allows you to move this stuck energy that is just trapped in your body. You can start to look up somatic workouts all over YouTube. Get into some yoga. Then another one that is really big in helping us process this trauma is the mirror affirmations. And when I say mirror affirmations, I do literally mean you're looking in the mirror while you are repeating these affirmations. You have to look at yourself and say, I believe you. If no one else believes you, I believe you. Write down your affirmations. Start unlearning these lies that people taught you. It may feel weird at first, but it's powerful. You have to begin to speak to the wounded you. This is the part where you go back and you begin to heal the little girl in you, the little boy in you. Speak to the wounded you. Give him or her the love that they've always deserved. So don't underestimate these mirror affirmations, guys. Number 4, we've got to get into the boundaries and the distance, right? Sometimes we need to separate. We can't keep running back for healing in the same places that broke us. So I want you to stop trying to heal in the same environment that hurt you. You don't have to explain your silence or your distance. Just know that protecting yourself is sacred. It's important. And again, you deserve it. Welcome in, Crystal Girl. And then lastly, get with your community. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? There is so much healing in the community. So don't isolate yourself. What up, King Von? Grand Rising. Don't isolate yourself. Whether you undergo therapy, find you a support group, or just your self-care family, right? Stay connected to those people who uplift you. I tell you guys all the time, I gravitate to the people who feel like sunshine, the people who warm my heart, the people who uplift me when I'm feeling down. I want to be in their presence more times than, not, right? Thank you, Crystal. It's time for us to begin to understand that we are not broken. We are becoming. You're not behind. You're not damaged. You're not too far gone. You're simply becoming. Every tear that you've cried in secrecy, every journal that was soaked in grief, every time you doubted yourself, but you still chose to love yourself anyway, that's work. That's healing. That's you glowing up. You're not crazy. You're a miracle in progress. Let me say it like this. We've talked about the caterpillar, right? The caterpillar didn't know that her world, had to fall apart in order for her to become a butterfly. And neither do you. Sometimes we have to go through the ugliness. In order for a lotus flower to bloom, it has to go through the mud. There's some darkness that comes with it. But again, you are a miracle in progress. And I know that sometimes this healing seems impossible, but that's when we go back to remembering that the word impossible literally says, I'm possible. So it is something that you can do. It is something that you deserve. Contrary to all the gaslighting, the manipulation, the neglect, all of it, right? The conditional love, that control that they try to mask as being protective over you. You deserve to heal from all of it. So again, I encourage you all to try the narrative therapy, somatic work, mirror affirmations, community healing, and truly start to set those boundaries and distance yourself. If it doesn't feel right to you, it's not right. Contrary to what anyone else tells you. You're healing. Now, as we close out today's session, I just want you guys to know that I see you. I believe you. And I honor every invisible scar that you have carried with grace. You don't need to prove your pain to anyone. You just need to keep choosing yourself again and again and again. And if this episode resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, post about it. Let's keep the conversation going. Healing is a ripple, right? And you are the drop that starts the entire wave. So take a deep breath with me now. Inhale through your nose. Hold it. Now exhale slowly from your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your nervous system feel this moment of safety because you made it here. You made it to this point. You listened all the way through, and that's what matters. See, many of you didn't just hear this episode. You felt it. Because part of your soul remembered what it was like to cry behind closed doors, to doubt your own story, to carry wounds in silence, and still try to show up like you got it all together. But the truth is, you don't have to pretend anymore. Not here, not in this space. This is your room to breathe. A space for you to exhale, to feel, to grieve, to rebuild, to remember who you were before the gaslighting, before the guilt, before you were told that you were too sensitive, too emotional, or too much. This is your space. And I want you to hear this, and I want you to hold it close. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are not imagining things. You are healing. And that healing is sacred work. So no, they may never say, I'm sorry. They may never understand the ways that they hurt you. But your healing is not dependent upon their apology. It is dependent upon your choice to keep showing up for you every day. To keep loving yourself through every layer of the process, even when it's ugly, even when it's slow, even if it's lonely. That's not weakness. That is resilience. That is power. And that is self-care in its realest form. So go ahead. Let's honor the version of you that stayed silent to survive. And let's bless the version of you that's learning to speak again. May you rise, may you heal, and may you take up space with your truth and never shrink again. And if today's episode stirred something in your spirit, I want you to do two things. Start by dropping a green heart in the comments or the chat to let us know that you're tuned in, tapped in, and reclaiming your healing on this journey with us. The second thing that I want you to do before bed tonight, I want you to journal this affirmation. I'm going to add it to the chat for you. They don't have to understand me. They don't have to understand for me to be free. They don't have to understand for me to be free. I give myself permission to heal out loud, live fully, and love myself deeply. Again, they don't have to understand for me to be free. I give myself permission to heal loud, to live fully, and to love myself deeply. And of course, you guys already know, if this episode blessed you, please share it with someone else who is ready to breathe again. Someone who needs to be reminded that just because it was all in their head doesn't mean that it wasn't real. You already know we are not healing in isolation, right? This is a community effort. This is a group project, y'all. So make sure that you guys stay connected. Visit theselfcareclub.org to explore more tools. Check out our healing merch, our music, and spaces that support your journey. You don't have to do it alone. You were never meant to do it alone. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give us a follow, and be sure to leave a comment or a review and let us know what you're loving. That level of support keeps this movement going strong, right? But until next time, I encourage you all to keep breathing, stay positive, and remember that you will always be supported here at the Self-Care Club. So don't be afraid to take up space and make a little room for you to breathe. I pray that you all have an amazing day on purpose, filled with nothing but purpose. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.